Val, what's up, my dude? Out here at the farm getting ready to do some drills. Thought I'd show you some things that you can work on when you go to the range. I kept in mind that you're probably going to go to an indoor range with some pretty stringent rules. So I tried to think of some drills utilizing some materials with that in mind. You're not going to be able to do some high-speed stuff, but at the level that you're at, you want to start with the foundation anyway, so this is good. So what we're mainly going to be working on is acquiring those sights, pressing that trigger, recoil, mitigation, utilizing our fundamentals to make everything happen. So for the first drill, what I have here is something I downloaded off the internet. You can download it too, all these dots. It's from Travis Haley. So he's got different things you can work on, and he's got videos on it on his YouTube, which I can show you later. But even just utilizing these dots and shooting into the dots for accuracy and just focusing on that alone helps with your fundamentals. Even being at 3 yards, 5 yards, if you're feeling high speed, 7 yards, this is difficult. So I'm gonna start at like 3 yards. I'm just gonna put 1 round per dot. So depending on where I hit, it's gonna tell me kind of what I'm doing with my trigger and everything. If I'm aiming at this dot and I'm hitting real low, that tells me I'm anticipating recoil, I'm dipping down. That's typically a big thing that happens with newer shooters and even high-speed shooters. I still have issues with it. But just 1 round per dot, we'll see where we hit. I just zeroed my red dot at 15 yards or confirmed it. So with my red dot pistol, I have to keep in mind that there's still, at closer distance, a little bit of sight over bore, but we'll see what happens here. All right, so I did that relatively quick. Like I said, really focus on those fundamentals. You'll know when you can speed it up. When you're comfortably hitting these dots, then you know you can speed it up. So I saw here, I was aiming center of dot. I hit here. I knew that has to do with my red dot on my pistol, I feel like, with some of the sight over bore issues at this range. So I started aiming up here. With your iron sights, you're not gonna have to worry about that as much. Just put iron sights, center a target, and you should be hitting where you're supposed to if all your fundamentals are synced in. So I transitioned my point of aim, and I started hitting center a dot, center a dot, center a dot. Here, that's because I anticipated the recoil and I dipped down a little bit. So now I have to work on that. So that's a drill that you can work on. 3 yards, man. You go to that range, indoor range, where they only let you shoot 1 round per second or whatever it is, but you can still take this out with these dots, and you can get a lot of rounds just focusing on that recoil mitigation, those fundamentals, not even having to shoot that far, and you can see what's going to happen. The next one I downloaded from T-Rex Arms. It's a cadence drill that he has. I just use it for the circles. So this is something you can do to work on recoil mitigation as well as target transition. So I told you some of those dry fire drills, you focus on 1 point, and then you're gonna have a second point of aim. You're gonna transfer your eyes to the second point, eyes, and then sights. And you're working on transitioning targets. You can do the same thing here. So you can do it a few different ways. I can put my sights on here, and then I'm gonna put eye sights here as quick as I can and then fire, working on that. And then I can go back and forth doing that. Or depending on your range, if they let you shoot a little bit faster, you can do shot, then shot. But you're still working on those fundamentals. You're still gonna have that good, strong grip. You can do it at 5, 7 yards. And you're focusing on getting that sight picture and then front sight on target, squeezing the trigger without disturbing them. And just remember that your sights go where your eyes go. So you're gonna be focusing on the first target. It'll be eyes first, and then your sights carry over. So we'll go ahead and try that. I'll do it both ways. All right, buddy. So here's my shots. The first time I was just focusing on this target, and then I would move, boom. I'd focus on this target, transition, fire. And then the second part of the second drill, I was firing, transfer, firing. Firing, transfer, firing. So depending on your range and what you're allowed, how many rounds you can fire, you can mix that up, but it's just a small drill. You can print this off for free from trexarms.com, and you can work on target transition at your range, even at a flat range. You put this up there, you know, 5, 3, 5, 7 yards. I'd go 5 to 7. It's still a small enough target. Focus. You still have to focus on your fundamentals, put accurate rounds on target, and you can work on target transitions. You can still work on recoil mitigation, even for a rapid string of fire, even if you can't fire rapid fire. So let's say your range is like 1 round per second, whatever. I can still take one of these circles, you know, 5, 7 yards, focus on it, and work on the mechanics of recoil mitigation. So when I'm doing a rapid string of fire, my finger never leaves the trigger, right? We talked about how you squeeze the trigger, round breaks, you have follow through, and then you're bringing your finger back to reset. You can hear that click in the trigger. That means you're ready to fire again. You never have to leave the face of the trigger. So I can do a drill while I have the gun up. I have my point of aim, which will be one of these circles. I fire. By the time I'm controlling that recoil, by the time my sights come back on target, I want my finger to be at reset again. So it never leaves the trigger, right? I'm firing, my finger, I have follow through. My finger goes back to the rear, and then by the time the recoil has reset and I come back on the target, my finger is back at reset, I'm ready to fire. If you have a 1 second limit to the range, well then you wait a second till you fire again, but you're still working on that practice of firing under recoil. I'm resetting the trigger, back on target, ready to go. So I'll go ahead and practice that. Pick a different circle. So the circle to the left, I practiced the way I showed you because I have a limit, right? I can only shoot 1 round per second. You can see here in the circle, I would fire, recoil, bring it back as fast as I can, mitigating recoil with the finger at the reset, ready to fire again. So that if I had to, I could. You're still practicing those mechanics, so when you can do rapid fire at some point, you have those mechanics locked down. Now it's a rapid string of fire, which I picked it up for this circle, because I can do whatever I want out here because it's America. And same thing, within the circle. Everything you do, whenever you start doing things for speed, You always want an accuracy standard. You know, anyone can flip a gun out of a holster, shut their eyes, and squeeze a trigger fast. There's a balance of speed and accuracy. So you always want an accuracy standard, and you want to be able to shoot as fast as you can within an accuracy standard. So in reality, for me to push the limit, I would want to shoot as fast as I can while maintaining this standard. So if I ended up shooting a group, you know, a little tiny group, that means I'm not picking it up. I need to push myself. I need to shoot faster to where that accuracy decreases to the point that it's right within my standard. And then if I have a point of failure, then I know to back it off a little bit. So whenever you're able to shoot for speed, it's always a balance of speed and accuracy. But we can still practice for speed at the range, even with those limits. We can practice that recoil mitigation like I showed you. So there's a couple things there. Now, I was told, and I truly believe this, whenever you have a certain foundation of skill, you really don't see your problems until you get out to 25 yards. 25 yards is that standard point. You know, for qualifications that I do in my profession, for a pistol, 25 yards is the max shooting range. So everyone deems it a far shot, but we always want to push for that, right? And it's at 25 yards we really see where your problems occur. So work on this stuff up close, but then you want to push yourself for 25 yards. And then I'm going to show you just a couple simple things for 25 yards to help you out here.